Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Claycomo, Pleasant Valley, Glenaire, Missouri? Well, hey, good news. In this video, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to look at the Google Maps, kind of show you how to get around, what it's close to, and where it is in relationship to Kansas City. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you kind of my biggest pro and biggest con to these three areas. The reason I'm lumping these together is they're fairly similar, but we're going to get started right now. Hey, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Kansas City and the surrounding areas like Claycomo, Pleasant Valley, Glenaire, then click subscribe, hit that little bell for notifications so you can be the first to know of the current market in the KC metro area. My name's Zach Morton. My business partner Max Jones, the Mojo Real Estate team, and I have been helping people move to Kansas City for over 20 years. We get calls, text, emails from folks just like you every single day, and we absolutely love it, but you don't have to take our words for it. See what our clients have to say with over 600 5-star Google reviews from folks just like you. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, you can just pick up that phone, give us a call, shoot us a text, drop us an email, even schedule a Zoom so we can chat with you about your goals and help you with that seamless transition into your new neighborhood. All of that contact information is in the description below this video and all of our videos. So here we are. Let's dive into the map here. We are talking about, I chose 3 of them because they're very small and they're all kind of in the same general area and they share a lot of the same amenities. But I like to start off this map video with like, here's Kansas City, right? It's this big kind of white. Google just changed their maps, by the way, different color scheme. So I'm just now getting used to this. But anyway, Kansas City as a whole, there is a Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri, and it's divided by this state line that runs right through Kansas City. Everything on the west side of that line is Kansas, and everything on kind of the east side of this is Mo. And then you need to know this too, if you're going to be coming here walking around talking, there's north of the river and south of the river. Some people are called Northlanders, all that good stuff. And that is divided by the river. So this, or anyway, the divider line is the river between Kansas and Missouri. But then the river just kind of goes off this way once it hits that state line. It goes north and south. So everything on north of the river is Missouri, and you can also have a Missouri south of the river too. And then Kansas is just everything on the west side of that line. So I think we've got that nailed. There's north, south. That's pretty much all you need to know to make it in Kansas City as far as talk and sound like you know what you're talking about. I will also point out that Kansas is the sunflower state, if you're wanting to know what's on the license plate. And Missouri is the show me state. And that's what it has on our license plate, which is, you know, what's show me state mean? It just means we got to see it to believe it. I'm on the Missouri side. So we're the kind that are always questioning, like, yeah, I got to see it to believe it. So anyway. Now you know your Kansas and Missouri lingo. We're going to zoom in a little bit, get a little enhance. While we're enhancing, I'm going to point out some highway systems here. We have 35 north, well, north and south, runs all the way through the city at a diagonal like this. And then we have I-29. It also turns into 49 and goes kind of north to south. Those are 2 main highways that go north to south. I-70 cuts right across the middle, goes east to west, coast to coast. And then there's another major highway system called 435, which is a loop. So if you are out here cruising around, you'll see a sign that says 435 north, 435 west, 435 south, 435 east, because it goes in all the directions. And it's just a nice way to circumvent city traffic, avoid downtown congestion, especially during those rush hours if you happen to be going to a place that lands on the 435 loop. So I think we've got our highway systems all dialed in. Let's go ahead and clear that out. We're gonna just kind of keep on zooming in here as we work our way towards Claycomo. Enhance. All right, there we go. Claycomo. We are on the Missouri side. And you can tell that because we are north and east of this little river right here. So the Missouri River runs right through downtown and keeps going. So anything north of that is going to be Missouri because everything north of the river is Missouri. And Claycomo lands right in the middle. It's pretty close to downtown. You're talking maybe 10 or 15 minutes depending on traffic. You've got a couple options to get downtown. You can just hop on 35. You can also get on 435 to 210, to all these highways that will just dump you right into downtown. So easy getting down there. As far as going to the airport is kind of the northwest side of Kansas City. So you've got 435, you can continue on up. That runs right up to the airport, which is handy and convenient. And then you've got I-29 that's pretty much a straight shot up to the airport as well. So you're probably 15 to 20 minutes away from the airport, depending on traffic. So still pretty close to the airport, pretty close to downtown. So the location is pretty sweet, and I think that's probably why Claycomo is kind of on the map, is because Ford has decided to put their assembly plant there. They make the F-150, if you ever heard of that, and they make the transit van, and those are all assembled right here. I'm gonna zoom in on this and then change the view a little bit. Those are all assembled right here in Claycomo. Now Claycomo, it's pretty small. We're talking 2.6 square miles with 1,300 residents. So pretty tiny all in all. As we zoom in a little bit, you can see we've got some houses on this side, but this is all the plant right here. It is incredible. In fact, during our vlog, I kind of stopped by this. I fly the drone over it a little bit, and I've never really done a lot of research. I've known the Ford plant is there. Everybody in Kansas City knows somebody that works at the Ford plant. I've got lots of friends that work there. It's been there since 1950 or slightly before that. So big history here in Kansas City, but I've never really gone up there. I've never taken a tour of it. So going up there to do a little research, fly the drone around, was really cool. It is expansive, and we'll flip some video up there so you can see it. This is over 4.7 million square feet of plant space. They've got over 72, well, according to what my research found, over 7,200 hourly employees that work up here. And then while I was at the bank just yesterday, I was talking to the teller, telling her like, yeah, I was just up at the Ford plant, and this and that, and throwing some stats at her. And she's like, how do you know that? And I was like, well, I'm doing this video for people that are moving to Kansas City and explain it. And she's like, well, my husband works there. And I was like, oh, well, is it really 72? And she said, actually, she thinks it's more like 9,400 employees. So some of that might be management, and I don't know. But anyway, employs a lot of people. There's parking lots everywhere. Something else I found out that I didn't know about until I really started diving in and looking at the map here is, there is all kinds of rail and train yards down in here. I'll change the view a little bit. All this is like rail and train yards where they kind of get their supplies in and the stuff, and then there's a rail line that runs right up into the plant. So they can assemble that stuff. It's located really close to the highways, all the major highways. So really easy to assemble cars, get them put together, and then get them shipped out, whether you're shipping them out on train, whether you're shipping them out on the highways or whatever. So that's kind of why the Ford plant, it's a huge employer. Can you imagine? There's between 7,000 and 9,000 people coming in and out of there every day to go to work. Pretty incredible. And what I was really even more awestruck by is that, somebody's in charge of that plant, and just to keep all that running and to keep all those people on task working in the same direction, it's pretty incredible when you see it. I know it happens all over the world with big factories and stuff, but man, just to stand there and be like, somebody's keeping all this, everybody flowing in the same direction, is pretty amazing. So anyway, that is what is special about Claycomo, is they've got that plant and they've got half of it. Now, Claycomo, as far as a city to live in that's full of amenities and all that, not really. The main drag that's kind of running through town, 69, it's going to be busy during shift change hours. There's really easy highway access over here, I-35 to 435. So, it's not like you're driving miles and miles down windy roads. Pretty much when they get off work, they can shoot out right to the highway. But if they're coming down 169 and you're living in there, this is your major road in and out as well. But you can see there are some cool, we've got a couple local diners. Ma and Pa's Kettle, this actually had some pretty good reviews, family friendly. Look, 4.5 reviews and 979. And I will tell you, this is like that home style cooking. So you can get some, look at that. We got biscuits and gravy and toast and eggs and gravy on your, that Midwest kind of, plenty of fat in the diet kind of food. So anyway, you got that spot there. You've got the Claycomo Plaza, which that's, no major shopping. There's really no sidewalks. When I was there for the vlog, it wasn't really easy to walk around. Anything that you're going to be doing is you're just going to be driving down this road and pulling in. A couple restaurants, a couple gas stations. There's a little motorcycle shop there that look pretty cool if you're into motorcycles, but we'll zoom in a little more. As you can see, you've got this, like a Dollar General. What else? We got the Chinese restaurant, a couple restaurants. There was a fast food restaurant up here. Yeah, the Mexican, and then a Pizza Hut across the street. So, nothing too fancy, enough to keep you alive though. There's really not a grocery store here. There is some nearby. What I think Claycomo really does a good job of is taking advantage of the amenities around it. And I know I said Claycomo, I also said Pleasant Valley and Glenaire. So I do want to touch on those and show you where those are in location. So if we got Claycomo right here, zoom out just a little bit. Pleasant Valley, that's weird that it puts it right up there. So Pleasant Valley is just right up here, just on the north side of Claycomo. In fact, they share some borders. So what's different about that? It's still close, it's super small. Again, Pleasant Valley, you're looking at 2,700 people here and 1.25 square miles. So again, not a very big city. The reason I like to point out these little suburbs of Kansas City is because we do have that e-tax. If you live on the Missouri side and you live in Kansas City proper, most likely you're going to be subject to that 1% earnings tax, or e-tax as we call it for short. And that means 1% of your income that you generate is going to go right back to Kansas City. Now it does do some good things. It pays for the roads and the trash and some of the police service downtown Kansas City area, but it is an expense you're going to have to pay. So some people, to get out of that, you could live in a place like Claycomo or Pleasant Valley or even Glenaire, which is just over here to the east of Pleasant Valley. And by living in one of those suburbs of Kansas City, you've got all the amenities, you're really close. In fact, Kansas City borders just, right there or right there, but you don't have to pay that tax and you just get out of the city, and there's some other benefits as well, but that's kind of the main one. Some people are just anti-big city, and getting out into the county or avoiding a little fraction of tax is important to them, so we just want to point that out. So we got Pleasant Valley here. Now Pleasant Valley, of course, does not have a big auto plant. It's primarily housing. As you can see here, we've got all this housing right back here, but right by the highway, there is a little business park, and then there is a Quick Trip which is a nice gas station in Kansas City. If you're in Kansas City and you have to stop for gas, you see a Quick Trip, they just do a really good job. It's always clean. I mean, it is quick. Now they've all got food and stuff. It's a really good, reliable place to go. I'm not like a big fan of gas stations or anything, but I've been to some doozies, and Quick Trip's always nice and clean and you can count on it. So I just like to point that out if you're cruising through town. And then right here is that business park. So this is like when my car got in a wreck, there's some collision repair places over here. Let's just zoom in on that a little bit so you can see what's going on. There are some small businesses. I will say both Claycomo and Pleasant Valley have their own police department, have their own fire department. It's a community center. So it is kind of a nice, smaller municipality where, you're probably going to know when you go in to like pay taxes or knock on the door or pay the water bill or any of that. Chances are you're going to know that person and talk to them. They're going to know your neighbors. So it does kind of have that small town feel, which is kind of cool. But just zooming in right here, we've got like landscape supply company. Oh, look, a weed man. Party rentals, but just kind of that warehousey kind of stuff. Storage over here, probably, I think there's a plumbing company, an HVAC company, and just that kind of stuff right by the highway so they can just, get on the highway and go. So you will see that. This is probably some overflow, I would highly imagine, from the Ford plant. Those look like F-150s to me, baby. Look at that, red, white, and blue. America from the sky. I love it. And then you've got your Quick Trip with the truck stop right across the street. So yeah, from time to time, you will see, with Ford being there and all the transit vans and all that, you'll see like buildings that are dilapidated, like when they tore down Metro North Mall, they use that parking lot. Ford would stick a lot of stuff up there for a while. So you'll always see chunks of Ford cars from time to time chunked around all over the city. That's pretty cool. Out here, there's gonna be some Amazon. Right there actually is one. So there's a lot of new construction that's actually going to be going in. When we were doing our pros and cons, Max talked about this, but you got Liberty Parkway. This is a brand new highway system they put in, try to take some heat off the 152 corridor over I-35 going into Liberty. So there's vlogs and all that stuff on Liberty if you want more information on that. But they put this highway in to take some of that traffic away. And now they're poised. As you can see, we've got a lot of green space right around this. We do have the Amazon Center and all that. But this is all poised to be some new subdivisions and new neighborhoods. And like I said, this is a great location as far as centrally located, close to Kansas City. A lot of fresh new ground to start some new subdivisions. So keep an eye on that, as that'll be coming around here pretty quickly once we get rates under control and people get excited about new construction again. All right, so there's Pleasant Valley, and then Glenaire, I will type, let's see if I click on that, if it'll just pull it up. It is a really tiny spot. Yes, look at that little square. This Glenaire used to be a lake, a 16-acre lake that at one point in time the dam broke, back in the 50s, I think, about the time they were putting in the Ford plant. And instead of repairing it, making it a lake again, I think they just decided we're just going to turn it into a neighborhood. So it's kind of its own little thing. It's some of this acre property is like almost an acre or a short acre. It's kind of wonky. There's no cookie cutters. It looks like a couple of them might be similar, but some people have a little bit of land with sheds on the back. I've known a couple people that have lived there. It does get you out of Kansas City, gets you out of the e-tax. It also has a very nice sales tax of 5.125%, which sales tax, depending on where you come, I know some of you guys have no sales tax, Florida, Oregon. Some people do have sales tax, but Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, you're gonna see sales tax everywhere. Every city's or suburb's gonna have their own tax rate, but for the most part, everybody's landing around 8 or 9%, sometimes even 10. Well, Glenaire is 5.125, and you know, not that there's any businesses. You can see there's really no businesses going on in Glenaire. But if you buy a car, you're gonna have to pay sales tax on that. A car is a pretty expensive item. So if you're like $20,000, $40,000 car, whatever it may be, and you gotta pay sales tax on that, paying it at 5.125%, and not paying the e-tax, save you a few bucks living in Glenaire. So I like to point that out. And another beautiful thing about Glenaire is it takes advantage of Liberty right here, a school district, which is an A+ rated school district. So some other perks, you're not in Liberty, you're not in Kansas City, but you get to take advantage of all these high-end A+. There's a lot of new construction up here. There's some older areas too, but Liberty is a hot spot that's seen a lot of growth, especially a little bit to the west. And look at that, Glenaire is just sitting right there using all those amenities and paying lower taxes. So good for you, Glenaire. Smart thinking. Now, it is because of that, it's kind of on its own, that Pleasant Valley and Claycomo. Probably the worst, the biggest negative, I said if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna tell you, but I'm just gonna tell you the biggest negatives, in my opinion, are the school district. You're in the North Kansas City School District, which is a huge school district. See how massive, we've got Claycomo right here in Pleasant Valley, but the North Kansas City School District is absolutely huge. 20,000 kids. There's 4 high schools, 4 middle schools, 2 6th grade schools. I gotta look at my notes here because I can't always remember all this. 22 elementary schools, 3 alternative schools, and there's even an early education pre-K school that does a really good job. So with that, you're gonna have, and it kind of goes north to south. There's great schools, you know, in the north edge. But anyway, the worst rated school, high school, is gonna be Winnetonka in that school district. And Pleasant Valley, Claycomo are both going to go to that Winnetonka high school. So if high school is important to you, it's not like it's the end of the world. We're still north of the river, close to the city. This is coming in at like B-. But by just getting a little bit different, or even going to Glenaire, you're going to set yourself up into a school that's A+ school district. Or even just going a little bit west and getting into Gladstone, you might get into the Oak Park School, or even moving up north up here, which is yet even a better school district. So as far as ratings go. Now, across the board with elementary schools, I don't know why it is, but they always have highly rated. So both niche.com and greatschools.org have all the elementary schools fairly highly rated. I think you're probably just splitting hairs there. You're gonna get newer as you go north, because that's the way the city grew, away from Kansas City city center. So you tend to get better ratings as you go north, but there's still all kinds of great schools in here. And if high school is not a big deal, or you know you're gonna go to a private school, we got St. Pius right over here off 35. And there's some great private school options as well. But why you might want to choose Pleasant Valley or Claycomo over some of these others like Gladstone or Liberty is the median house price. So that is coming in right at $220,000 for Claycomo, Pleasant Valley, and Glenaire. I combined them all and threw them in. Now, there was only like 46 houses a year, I think, selling in these areas, so it's not like you're gonna have tons of options here. But, you know, for the most part, $220,000, that's almost $100,000 less than some of the averages if you move just a little bit in one direction or the other. So you're gonna be saving quite a bit if you're okay doing that. Now, usually when you get into the lower priced housing, we'll see the crime rates grow up a little bit, but you know what? That really wasn't the case here based on the graphs I was looking at. I mean, Claycomo does have their own. In fact, I was standing on the vlog, I was standing right in the police station parking lot. Look, they have an indoor gun range. There's the library. I was right over here. There is a police station. There's a fire department. that probably has something to do why the crime's good. I mean, the crime was slightly higher in Claycomo. Pleasant Valley was like non-existent, and Glenaire didn't even register. So you're doing pretty good in any of those areas on crime. And I think with the Ford plant and that many people, you know, 7,000 to 9,000 people cycling through there every day, I'm sure there's an altercation that happens every once in a while, you know, that gets reported in Claycomo statistics. But as a whole, nothing I would worry too much about. Personally, you can see all the housing on the Claycomo sides here on the west. There's not really a whole lot of it, not really a whole lot of options, but as you get out of that, as you get into Kansas City or Gladstone, it's gonna open up a lot. I mean, you can see there's tons of housing around it. It's just not that's gonna have that Claycomo address. Me personally, it's kind of a busy thoroughfare with a lot of people coming in and out of the plant. Here on the north side, there's gonna be some apartments. You will see some multifamily stuff along here and even in here too. So there is quite a bit of rentals. I think it's 47% rentals. So I think if I was looking for more of a quiet place, you know, I've had kids. I don't know what your situation is. Maybe you like the busy life, because there's some things to shop and get and right there. But Pleasant Valley or Glenaire is set up more of a neighborhood operation. Once you get now Pleasant Valley Road, it's just like a rolling hills through here. There's a couple stop sign here. There's a stop sign here. And then the rest of it's just, you know, just little neighborhoods put in. You know, some of them probably built back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, so older neighborhoods, but it's nice, it's quiet, you know, all your utilities and the municipalities are right here. So you just kind of living right in the city where everything's right there. So I don't know, that's kind of handy. I kind of like that nice quiet feel, and like everybody that lives here basically has to dump out onto Pleasant Valley Road to get out of town. So you're gonna be passing all your neighbors and seeing them on the road. So it just kind of has that nice warm fuzzy feel to it. But like I said, if school districts are important to you, you're probably not gonna be choosing this place. And that's why I really wanna point this out, because when people, we get it all the time, coming in from out of town, they're like, oh, you know, we're looking in 15 minutes from downtown, or whatever it is. It's always like, we wanna be close to here, so they draw a circle around it. And they'll see great prices in Pleasant Valley or Glenaire or Claycomo and be like, oh man, this looks like a steal. What is it, Zach? Can we go see it? And that's why I'm trying to point this out. Just so you know, there's always gonna be these pockets all around Kansas City, north, south, east, west, probably every city. That's good to know about. So if a deal seems too good to be true, it might be. It might not be though. From time to time it happens, but at least now you'll know if you hear Claycomo, Pleasant Valley. Although they're nice, great, peaceful cities, they just might not come with the best school district if that's something important to you. If schools aren't important to you, it wouldn't bother me a bit to hang out there. So we'll point that out. We talked about this in the vlog too, so I'm gonna talk about it now, because people in Claycomo are probably having way more fun than the rest of us, and that is because they are really close to this place called Worlds of Fun. There's a picture of a roller coaster right there. This place is pretty wild. I grew up with it in my backyard, basically, or 15 minutes away in the Northland. So I never really thought of it as this amazing place. We always went once a year when I was a kid, or winter now, so they're temporarily closed. But you can see they've got some pretty significant major rides. The Mamba, from time to time, they've been like tallest or fastest roller coaster in the USA and all that fun stuff. So it is pretty cool, especially anytime you have guests coming in from out of town. It's always a fun thing to go do in the summertime. We'll kind of pull this up. You can see it's pretty sizable. And then to the south, which connects to Oceans of Fun, connects to Worlds of Fun, they have Oceans of Fun, which is, if we zoom in on that, you can see it's just a massive water park with like a wave pool, water slides, all that kind of fun stuff. So you can get a pass to that as a kid. We didn't have passes when I was younger. When I got a little older, had a little more money, and ended up getting passes. I think they're now like $100 for the year. You can go as many times as you want. This runs all the way into October, and they do like a Halloween thing there that was really fun. I hadn't been to it, but my kids went. There's like haunted houses. All the buildings at Worlds of Fun, they turn into haunted houses. So you can go to one spot that's safe with the kids. You can kind of let them off the chain and see a bunch of haunted houses all in one spot. So I do a pretty good job. Downtown Kansas City also does a great job with haunted houses. So you are definitely, if that's the thing you're into, you're gonna want to go down there. Some 100-year-old brick buildings right downtown in the river bottoms, and it's super creepy. They got a good spot for it. So that's where we're at. Claycomo, Pleasant Valley, Glenaire. That's kind of what you need to know to get around. We kind of touched on the stuff, what's there. I think really the best part about those is the price that you're going to save on real estate or the cost of living while still being able to take advantage of some A-plus style communities and all the amenities that come with that, like Liberty, Parkville. Parkville is one of the most expensive or prestigious areas to live north of the river, so we've got a vlog on that. You can check that out too. Close to the airport here in the Northland, you're also not too far away from Smithville Lake, which is up here. Which, by the way, I'll point out on the west side of Smithville right here, Meta is putting in their mega data facility that's supposed to be almost 5 million square feet too, so maybe rival the Ford plant. But that's going to be right up here. We're already helping people move that are moving in town because they're going to be working for Meta that are moving into this area. So folks are finding these super useful. So I will point that out. That's going in right there. So all these areas that we're talking about, Liberty, check out our vlog there. Even Platte City, which is a little further to the north, kind of a smaller country town with A-plus schools as well. You've got all the amenities living Claycomo, Pleasant Valley, or Glenaire, just right down here with that, like I said, that great highway access, closer to downtown than most of these other cities if you're needing to travel downtown. And just pretty good, location. So I don't know that they're poised for a lot of growth. They don't have any room really to grow, but just a good little stable spot close to the city with low crime that has very affordable housing. So point that out. Let me clear this out and we'll zoom out a little bit, see if there's anything else I want to touch on, which as far as Kansas City, I do kind of like to touch on some of the bigger stuff. So you can always stop now if you want to and go check out one of our vlogs so you can get a little more information on that area. But Kansas City, if you go out here to Columbia, you've got MU. So if you got college kids, you're kind of on the east side of town, so it's easy for them to get out there. We've got KU over here on the west side of town and the Kansas side. And then a lot of folks will, for summer vacations, will head down here to Lake of the Ozarks, where there's a lot of canoeing, a lot of big lakes, canoeing down the rivers and float trips and that kind of stuff. And then of course you've got, zoom out a little further, you've got, this new map is just kind of freaking me out. We've got, Colorado for your mountains. That's about an 8-hour drive into Denver and then a couple more hours up into the mountains. So it's pretty easy right down I-70. We're a big snowboarding family here, so we do a lot of trips out that direction. And then we do a lot of trips down to the lakes, the Ozarks, Branson area, and down into Arkansas in the summertime to take advantage of all the lakes and everything that they offer, mountain biking. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on down here. And then what's kind of nice about living in Kansas City is we don't have beaches or mountains. I talk about that all the time, but we're right smack in the middle. So if you are traveling, we're really close to the airport, it's easy to get to. So traveling to the West Coast, 4 hours, East Coast, 3 to 4 hours, Florida to get to your beaches is 4 hours. And then Mexico, 3-hour flight. And then I'm actually going there tomorrow. Actually 2 days to Mexico for my little beach trip. Oh, I'm not going that direction. Anyway, that was weird. So yeah, that's just a quick flight right down there as well for some all-inclusive beach fun with the fam. And then of course, Texas, easy flight there too. So it's really easy to get around to fly. We'll do fishing trips where we drive up into Minnesota and even into Canada to go fishing. So you've really got, living here in the Midwest, I hear it all the time, flyover state, all that, but for the amount of money that we're saving, everybody can work, or most people can work from home these days, especially since COVID. So just what it puts you close to, all the variety of things that you can do, cheap flights to all these places, and just the amount of money with cost of living. $220,000 for a medium price for a house. Depends where you're coming from, of course, but we've got, I know California would be like, are you kidding me? There's no way you can live in that. Well, check out our vlog because we actually take you by some houses, and one was actually for $265,000 that's plenty livable. And of course, East Coast, you're probably thinking the same thing, but then we've got people moving up from Florida, all over. I've got friends that have moved into my neighborhood just in the last couple of years from Hawaii, New York, and California. They're all in the neighborhood. We're all best buds, and now playing poker once a month, and they just are like, I can't believe it. We love this place. We love the people. So anyway, ask me questions, reach out to us, let us know how we can help. I hope you found these videos useful. Please feel free to share. Definitely likes and subscribes help. That way we can just kind of keep track of our next video. And it's so hard, even me on YouTube, I'll like find a video and I'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta go back and find that. And I can never find it again. So subscribe, just makes it easier to find us again so you can check out the next suburb. And with that, I'm gonna let you guys go, get ready for pack my bag so I can hit my Mexican beach. And hey, appreciate you watching once again. Remember, you got a couple friends in the business. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.